Hey everybody, in response to a previous tutorial that showed how to distribute a random collection of logos across clones, someone had asked about being able to have the clones appear with a pattern of logos instead of having a completely random placement. So in this video, we're going to create this sea of clones, and we have a set of logos distributed over them in a pattern. And so we'll get into an overview of this first, and then a full step-by-step tutorial on how to build this up from scratch. In the meantime, if you're enjoying these tutorials, please do go ahead and use those like, subscribe, and alert bell buttons. Seeing that positive feedback definitely motivates me to do more tutorials in this space. And with that said, let's go into the overview. Now, to begin with, there is a backdrop here, so I'm just going to hide the cloner system. And all this is a simple rectangle shape from the motion design tools, and that rectangle is set to fill out the screen. So there's these align actors button, and this button makes that rectangle fill out the screen. Let's just do that again. So click and fill. And now that we have that filling the screen, the color pattern that's on there is created with the material designer. This is an emissive material. And in that emissive channel, there is a texture. This texture is from the automotive materials pack. It's used for the like kind of the lights and reflectors. And it also has a panner UV effect added. And that panner UV effect is moving that pattern along the surface of the rectangle. And then to just give it a little bit more drama, I added a second layer to this material in multiply mode, and it's just a gradient, so that if I hide that, you'll just see this kind of bright pattern that is the original normal map for the reflector, but with this gradient placed there as a multiplier, it is giving us this kind of deep blue background. So with that, then we get to the cloner system itself. And as with the previous tutorial, the logos themselves are coming from what is called a sprite sheet. If I double click on this, this is a 9x9 set of tiled logos. So each one of these logos is unique. There's 9 logos across, 9 vertically, and this was created using XNView. So I just had all these logos as individual files, and XNView made these into what would be in photography a contact sheet, but in Unreal, we would call this a sprite sheet. And so then we want to distribute these over our clones. And to do that, we created a special cloner material. So we'll take a look at this material. Here it is, material logos order, double click. And the basics here are that we have a white background set up, and the roughness is set to 0, specular is set to 1, and that gives us this shiny white area of the sphere. And then for the logos, in the previous tutorial, we just took the random number from the cloner effector and put that through a flipbook animation phase value. That random number is always going to be between 0 and 1, and having that in our animation phase would select randomly from our sprite sheet of logos. This time we're going to use the index value of each clone. So this is a number that is assigned to each clone in the pattern. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way on up. And if we divide that by the number of logos in our sprite sheet, in this case, about 81, then we'll get a value after, basically the floating point value of, it'll go from 0 to 1, and then it'll go 1 to 2, but the animation phase is only going to use the floating point portion of that to select which logo to place onto the clones. By dividing the index by 91, essentially, we're getting a pattern of clones. So let's just see how that works out. I'm just going to go ahead and say yes to this. And right now, if I select this cloner, this is a grid cloner. We have 80 clones across and 40 vertically. If I make this 81 across, then the pattern is going to line up perfectly because we have 81 logos. And so each row is going to use 81 logos, and then the next row is going to start over again. And so we have this repeating columns of logos. But if we make the horizontal count just a little bit different, so like 80, now we get these diagonal patterns. And I do have a set of rows in X, so we've got 3 rows deep, and again, a count of 40 vertically. And then finally, to add this motion, we have a couple of effectors. There's a wave effector. It is unbound, so it is being applied to all the clones, and it's a circular wave, and that's where we're getting this kind of wave pattern. We're just applying that in the X direction, front to back. And finally, we're using pan and a frequency of 5. So there we go. That's what gives us that motion. And I did add an aim effector, and that way all the logos are facing the camera all the time. So it doesn't matter where the cloners are or where the camera is. This way the logo itself is always facing the camera. So that's the overall setup. We can get into the step-by-step. Of course, we'll start by creating a brand new level. So I'll go to File, New Level, and I'll choose a completely empty level. We'll save the changes to that cloner pattern. And here's our empty level. I'll activate Motion Design. And starting out, we'll apply that background. So I'm going to double click on the rectangle tool. And also I need some defaults. So I'm going to create a default set of scene actors, except I don't usually use the directional light. We'll spawn that. And now that we have a skylight, we can see that rectangle. I'm going to set it back away from the camera a bit more. So clicking and dragging to the right here in X to push that away. And then I can use my Align Actors tool to fill the screen with this rectangle. Next, I'll scroll down to our material, and I'll change from Simple to Material Designer. We'll use an emissive material and continue. And then for the emissive color, I'll keep this set to texture, but the texture I'm going to use is a hexagonal kind of like reflector pattern. So let's see if I can find that. Here it is, reflector hexagon, so right there. And this is just a normal map that's in the automotive materials that are available free from Fab. So that gives us this pattern. I can go ahead and scroll down and increase the tiling of this so that we've got a pattern that kind of breaks up the monotony of the background there. I will add another layer, and this will be a gradient, linear gradient layer. And this gradient will go from black to like a nice dark blue. So I'll select blue here. There we go, and say OK. And let's go ahead and make this a multiply instead of normal. By multiplying, we'll just have these blues multiplied by the color pattern below. Finally, I'll rotate this. I think it's negative 90 degrees, negative 90. Yeah, it gives me the gradient from the bottom up. And finally, we want to get this pattern in motion. So I'll select that layer and click on the effects. I'm going to choose from Distort. We'll do Panner UV, and I think I was using a negative 10 in X and a positive 10 in Y. So now I've got something in the background, and I can close that. Next, we can go ahead and create our cloner. I'll go to the Motion Design toolbar, click on Cloners, and double-click on Grid. This creates our grid cloner. We won't need this default cube, so I'll expand the cloner, select the default clone, and delete that. And instead, I want to clone a sphere, so I'll go to 3D Shapes and double-click on Sphere. Now that I have a sphere, I'll drag that into the cloner. Let's reduce its size. I think I was using a size of 20 last time. And then I also want to create a material for this. So I'll go to Content Browser, and I'll just right-click, and I'll create a material. And we'll call this Demo Material. Actually, Mat Demo. Let's do mat_demo. Okay. Control S to save, double click to open. And I mentioned before that I wanted to use a color as a background. So I hold the 3 key and click. That gives me a 3-value vector, which is RGB color. And clicking on this, I can double click and brighten this up and maybe just offset it a little bit to the blue. Not too much. I just don't want it to be pure white. We'll say OK and drag that into the base color. So that's going to be our main color. I want roughness to be 0, so we have a really shiny reflection, and I'm just going to boost specularity all the way up to 1, so we get perfect reflections. I'll save this material, and just setting that out of the way, I want to apply it to the sphere. So clicking on the sphere, I'll scroll down in Details, and for the material, we'll change from Simple to Asset, and then drag this demo material on. So there we go. We've got our shiny material on the spheres. Next, we'll apply the logos. So bringing our material back here, I'll scroll down in the content browser to bring this texture sheet in, drag and drop that in. And then rolling back with my mouse wheel and right click drag, I'll need the cloner properties. So right click and type in cloner effect. And finally, we're going to take the index of this, not the mesh index, by the way, this index right here. This is the index of the individual clones. If I had multiple meshes as my shapes, then this index would indicate which of those meshes we were using. I need to put this index into the animation input of our flipbook. So I'll just drag from this pin, release, and type in flipbook. And go ahead and choose that, and it's automatically connected to our animation phase. We need to inform the flipbook node about how many rows and columns. We have 9 for both, so I'm going to hold the number 1 key down and click to get a single value vector, and I'll put the number 9 into that, and then I'll connect that 9 into the number of rows and the number of columns. Finally, I'm going to take the UV output of this and drag that into the UVs of the texture, and that'll give me a single texture. I next need to overlay this on top of that white color. So right click to give us a little bit of space. I'll click and drag this away. What I'll do is use a linear interpolation, which is basically our alpha channel over. So right click, LERP, the abbreviation for linear interpolation, LERP. Clicking on this, we're going to use the alpha channel of our texture as the alpha for the LERP. We're going to use the RGB of the texture as our B input, and we'll use white as our A input. Finally, I can go ahead and drag from this pin out of the LERP into the base color, and now we can see one logo overlaid, and let's hit save, and we should see, well, we see one logo everywhere. So why is that? Well, we're actually only putting in the index number, which is a whole number for every single clone, and therefore the floating point portion of that value, well, it's always 0. So we're always getting the same exact logo. What we need to do is divide this by the number of logos we have in our sprite sheet. So let's pull off of index, type in divide, div, hit select divide, and I will click and drag this into the animation phase. And instead of a value of 2, I'm going to put in a value of 81. 9 times 9 is 81, so that should work. However, let's go ahead and save this and then add a whole lot more clones. Well, I found that there's a little bit of a glitch here, so I'm just going to set this aside. And let's set our cloner here to have a count in Y, which is our left to right, of 81 clones. And let's set our vertical Z to like 22. And let's reduce the gap between these. Let's make this 22 by 22 by 22. Okay, so as you can see, I would have expected this to be perfect columns, but we don't quite have that, So looking through here, there are a couple instances where things are not lining up perfectly. If we go across this, I'm trying to see if we could see any of the obvious breaks in the pattern. I'm not exactly sure what's causing this, but what I've found is that if we go into our material here and divide by just a little bit less than 81, so let's say 80.95, and hit enter and save that. We're getting a little bit better. Let's try 80.99, enter, and save. And there we go. So for some reason, we just want to be a 100th below 81, and that gives us our perfect pattern. So now we are displaying all 91 logos across each row. And finally, I can go ahead and add a few more rows. Let's say the count Z is going to be 30. And of course, we wanted this to animate a bit, so we can go ahead and with our cloner selected, I can scroll down, create a linked effector, and this effector is going to have a shape of unbound, so it affects all the clones. And we are going to use the procedural mode with, instead of curl noise, we'll use circular wave noise. I'm going to keep this material open just off to the side for right now so that I can edit that later. So for location strength, let's go ahead and make this like 20, and we'll set a pan value of 10 and a frequency of 10. And now we're getting this kind of wave pattern. So let's bring this cloner closer to the camera. There we go. Maybe a little bit further away. Oops, too close. Went the wrong direction. There we go. E to rotate. I'm just going to rotate this around a bit and rotate it here. And so I'm seeing a bit of an interesting pattern where we're having some of the clones in the background penetrate the ones in the foreground. Let's try and fill our screen here, and maybe for this cloner, let's set more of a gap front to back in X. So our cloner is selected, and let's set our distance in X to be something like 30. And so we should have less collisions front to back. And there we go. Maybe I'll increase the scale of this cloner a little bit. So I have the cloner selected, R, and just increase the scale, and E to rotate it. And now we're filling up our space. W, push it away a little bit. There we go. Trying to make sure that we completely cover the entire view. Getting a little bit too much background up there, so there we go. All right, and that is most of it. I did have one more effector to have these logos all point at the camera. So with the cloner selected, I'll add another effector, and this again is going to be unbound, but this time I'm going to use a target, and the target that I'm going to aim at is the actor that is the camera. Now that actually pushed all the logos away from the camera, so I can select the sphere under the cloner, use E, and I'm just going to rotate that around in a few different directions until I'm sure I'm happy with the logos pointing at the camera. And there we go. Nice. So we've got our logos essentially where we want them. Great. So now we can see everything. Now, again, with 81 logos and 81 columns with each row, we're getting these perfectly aligned logo columns. But if we want this to be a little more interesting of a pattern, I can select this cloner and reduce the number of columns that we have in each of our rows. So instead of count Y being 81, I'll make that 80. And now we have these diagonal patterns of logos. And to finish off the look I had before, I'm going to add a spotlight. So I'm going to take the skylight, reduce its intensity from 1 to 0.5, and then we'll go to lights, double click on spotlight. I will bring that spotlight W up to here. And let's bring it forward a little bit. And then E, just going to aim it more towards the camera. Let's see, how are we not seeing that light? There we go. Let's maybe increase its intensity. And instead of it being pure white, let's give it a bit of a tungsten amber color. There we go, a little CTO on there. And there we go. We've got this logo here. If we want to see the front of these spheres a little bit better, we can go ahead and increase the intensity of the skylight again. So instead of 0.5, maybe 0.7. And there we go. That's where that whole system came together. So I hope this helps. Until next time, have fun.